Good morning. I'm Hassan Giordano, and this is your DMV Daily Dose for Friday, January 10th, 2020.
It's currently cloudy and 36 degrees in Baltimore. Expect mostly cloudy skies starting in the afternoon. Today's high will be 51 degrees, and the low will be 35.
As the Baltimore Ravens prepare for a AFC divisional playoff game tomorrow night against the six-seeded Tennessee Titans, questions swirl as to whether or not starting running back Mark Ingram will be healthy enough to play, following a calf strain in Week 16 against the Cleveland Browns. Ingram did not practice almost the entire week until yesterday, where he was limited in his practice, and is a day-to-day decision on if he plays. Tight end Mark Andrews is also questionable for tomorrow night's huge home playoff game. However, the high-powered Ravens offense still has two great running backs, including Gus "the Bus" Edwards and Justice Hill, along with a handful of exceptional tight ends, including Nick Boyle and Hayden Hurst, though I'm sure MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson would like to have his better half running back in Ingram and his number one throwing target, Andrews, in the game. The Ravens have until 90 minutes before the 8:15 game start to file their starting roster. The Afro is reporting on the historic Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Baltimore, a federation of clergy activists from across the city of Baltimore and its metro area who have endorsed Kwesi Mfume for the 7th Congressional District special election being held on Tuesday, February 4th, to fill the seat vacated after the death of Congressman Elijah Cummings. The prominent group of clergy said it also supports Mfume in the April 28th Democratic primary for a full term in the United States Congress. The Baltimore Brew's Mark Reuter is reporting on an effort to spare Cab Calloway's childhood home from the wrecking ball, which has lost the tentative support of the city's Preservation Commission. CHAP will not pursue potential landmark designation of the property, Executive Director Eric Holman said yesterday after releasing a report that found that Andrew J. Reed, an early civil rights leader and the grandfather of the musician, did not live at the same address. Last month, Calloway's daughter, Cecilia Calloway, and grandson, Peter Brooks, cited research by a Virginia Tech professor suggesting that Reed also lived at the 2216 Druid Hill Avenue address. The CHAP board asked the housing department to delay demolition of the 2200 block for 90 days to allow staff to research the possible connection. Holcomb said Calloway did, for a brief time, live with Reed's wife, but at a different West Baltimore address and after Reed had died. Backing away from recommending 2216 Drew Hill Avenue as a historic landmark, Holcomb said that there are other ways to honor and celebrate the Calloway legacy here in the city of Baltimore, including the designation of other structures that we believe would better celebrate this heritage. Well, Baltimore elected officials say that they are concerned about the management of a multi-million-dollar fund earmarked for local youth organizations. The city's Children and Youth Fund was created to funnel taxpayer dollars towards grassroots organizations that work with young people. Now, Associated Black Charities, which was selected to manage the fund, announced the first round of 84 grantees in August of 2018, awarding them $9.6 million. But Democratic City Councilman Zeke Cohen said some of those won grants that still have not received the full amount that they were promised. Additionally, he says several organizations say that they've been left in the dark about when the second round of funding will come, even though more than 16 months have passed since the initial awards, and groups are counting on more money. Now, two Baltimore mayoral candidates say that they raised more than $1 million by the close of the first campaign finance reporting period. Democratic Mayor Bernard C. Jack Young's campaign said that Thursday it raised more than $1.1 million, with $954,000 left cash on hand. Former Deputy Maryland Attorney General Thiru Vignarajah, also a Democrat, said he's raised more than $1 million and will report having about $825,000 on hand, according to the latest Baltimore Sun article. The Young campaign did not disclose a list of donors. In October, Young's campaign reported raising more than $250,000 in 1 week from business leaders. His most recent public filing from January 2019 showed that Young had $599,279 cash on hand. At the time, Young was city council president. Since then, Handy said, Young has raised about $500,000. Now, Vignaraja, a former city prosecutor who was running in the April 28th primary on the message of fighting crime, was the first candidate in the field to begin airing television advertisements. He also has paid for billboard ads. Now, Vignaraja's campaign said the total does not include any loans. If you remember, Vignaraja ran in 2018 for the Democratic nomination for state's attorney of Baltimore, finishing a distant third. He ended that campaign with $1,700 in the bank, according to a campaign finance filing. By January of 2019, he filed an affidavit with the State Board of Elections saying that he hadn't raised more than $1,000 since the earlier campaign. Now, midnight yesterday was the cutoff date for candidates from across the state to raise money to show in their January annual filing, which will be reported on here later this week. And campaigns have until Wednesday of next week to file those numbers for public viewing without getting fined daily. You can best believe we'll list the candidates with the most campaign cash in the coming days. I'm your man, Mr. Politics, and this has been your DMV Daily Dose for Friday, January 10th, 2020. For more information on the articles that I've mentioned, just go on over to the website at www.dmvdaily.news.